And so when I say Chinese, I want you to scream out the nation that's associated with this. For example, if I say Chinese, you're going to say what?
China.
All right, let's say it with authority. When I say Chinese, you say what? China. All right, that's just a test right there. So here we go. Chinese.
China.
Russian.
Russia.
Italian.
Italy.
German.
Germany.
Swedish.
Sweden.
Korean.
Korea.
Egyptian.
Egypt.
Nigerian.
Nigeria.
Black.
Exactly. Nothing. Tell him, Pastor. Tell him, Pastor. Black, nothing.
I hope you were able to successfully identify the issue.
The lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. They want us to sell our souls to barter profit like God's property. It's hard to market, so we steady to aim. Keep your eyes on target, 'cause when you got to drive, yeah, they'd rather you park it. But I don't valet, you ain't getting these keys. I'm keeping closed hands, I'm on bended knee. I'm just a reflection, dealing with 8 sections. Art mixed with life, you can feel the convection. Your lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said the lion won't sleep tonight. 'Cause we woke now, and we woke now. I said
the same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
You know what you are? You're an ancient Israelite.
Ancient is there. That's who we are. That's who we are. So if you give me time, if you give me time,
But
all that he said.
no, we don't have.
So many years.
I know. Look at this. This is pages and pages of
Yes.
notes, and I promise we'll give more teaching. But here is my challenge to you.
All right.
I'm hearing some of your traditions. It's like the days of the Bible.
Yes.
Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews? Do you want to remain ancient Israelites, or you want to be Jews?
The same people that have stripped us of our identity and labeled us as a color have told us what it means to be black.
It makes it seem as if they know more than everybody else. Similar to those Reshaim, those Israelites, these idiots, Goyim, that they're not idiots because they're Goyim, because there are many smart Goyim, but they happen to be one of the idiots among the nations instead of the righteous among the nations. Now these idiots have been making a bigger stink lately. I had a few people send me messages about them and say, oh, this is concerning anti-Semitism. Kanye West is talking about the Israelites. Now I know these morons from years ago. I remember when I lived in New York, you always had one of these Amaleks in the middle of the street wearing something that he bought from a costume store, and he's yelling and screaming the New Testament, but he's pretending as if he's reading the 10 Commandments from Mount Sinai, and he's reading it in English because none of them know Hebrew. And, yelling at everybody that they're the righteous, they're the original Jews, they're the ones, and the Jews of today are fakers, and so on and so forth. Now, of course, at that time that I saw them initially, I didn't know anything about Judaism. So there's not much to argue here. I just knew they're idiots because just the way they behave. Today, Baruch Hashem, after Baruch Hashem, I've had enough time to learn enough that they're morons. Why are they morons? Because their entire premise of everything in regards to being an Israelite and the original Hebrews and they're black and all this racism, all of that can be crushed in literally just a few sentences. There's no need for a debate. I will never have a debate with one of these people because, again, they're violent people, both verbally and otherwise. I will never have a debate with one of these people because, Again, they're violent people, both verbally and otherwise.
I will never have a debate with one of these people because, again, they're violent people, both verbally and otherwise.
נחשף ביערות בורקינה פאסו שקניבלים נטו נטו. שלום למנהיג השבט קזבובו.
שלום עליכם. אברהם יצחק יעקב, יודע עברית, שולחן, חשבונית, קובי פרץ, מוטלזי מוטאו.
מר קזבובו, כולנו כאן בישראל מופתעים ונרגשים נוכח האפשרות שתעלו ארצה.
קזבובו שמח, 2000 שנות גלות נגמר, רואים אור בקצה של מנהרה.
אתם בטוחים שאתם יהודים?
התחלנו אלחנן. אם הוא שחור הוא לא יהודי?
לא בגלל שהוא שחור, הוא...
מה הוא מה?
קניבל.
ומי אתה שתגיד לו מה לאכול, אם הוא קניבל הוא לא יהודי?
אולי תבוא, תעשה אצלנו שבת?
זה לא שיש לי משהו אישי נגדכם, אבל הפלשמורה למשל תקועים.
להתחיל לאסוף את המסתננים, לא צריך לחכות לבג"ץ, לא צריך שום דבר.
אני רואה חרא מחוץ לבית שלי, יריקות, פסיכופטים, אנשים שרק מחפשים איך לרצוח אותי בעיניים שלהם, אבל אף אחד לא מאמין לנו. אנחנו גזענים כדי לרצות לשמור על החיים שלנו ועל השפיות שלנו. אז אני גאה בלהיות גזענית, אם אני גזענית בשביל לשמור על החיים שלי, אז אני גאה.
לכי את והוא! תלכי מפה! תלכי! את תשועה עם קוצ'י, לכי! לא מתפייתם!
The major problem of Israel is with the young generation of the black community. Black Lives Matter starts there. I had last week sit-down dinner at my house with the people which are considered the leadership of the black community.
We're finishing now part 2, chapter 2. And what we've said so far is that people have free will and their actions are, some are good and some are evil. And by the way, the Rambam writes explicitly that everyone has some good actions and some bad actions. Everyone. And he takes it for granted that there'll be a variety. And we talked about the fact that this world and the next world are asymmetrical. The next world is where the majority of a person's actions, which determine his identity, are compensated. For the righteous, they exist in the world to come and they're rewarded. And for those whose major complexion is black, are excluded from the world to come.
Go find me one African American black guy in Iraq. Find one. You're not going to find. Now, I love black people. I have plenty of black students and black friends. Now, I love black people. I have plenty of black students and black friends.
Now, I love black people. I have plenty of black students and black friends.
Well, you know how white people are when they try to get you to feel comfortable, man? He said all the wrong stuff, talking about, you know what, Slater? I like black people. Hell, I got a pair of black boots. I got a black pickup truck. I even got a colored TV. I was like, damn, bam! Now you got a black eye.
Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at you. If you repeat this fact, they can't laugh at
want to say peace and blessings to everyone. Hope and pray all is well with you guys. Want to say thank you guys for the love and support. I've been out of commission, so to speak, for the weekend. Wife and I, we celebrated another anniversary of marriage. Thank the Most High for, as I always call it, the strength to the weakest side of me. And that is my heart, my wife. So I thank the Most High for her. So that's why all I did this weekend, just did a couple of uploads just so that way we keep the traffic going. And I know that I was going to do a live about this guy right here, Rabbi Reuven, very messy. When you listen to the words that are coming out of his mouth, I mean, when I came across his video, I mean, it was very insulting, very insulting. You guys going to hear some of the things, and I don't have my slides fully put together, so we'll have to kind of piece it together as we go along. I have some of it, but I don't have all of it, right? So I wanted to take some time out to put it together, but didn't have time. Again, just want to get that time in with my wife. I tell you, man, it's been truly a blessing. He who findeth the wife findeth a good thing, right? And I thank the Most High for allowing me and my wife to come together when we were two young knuckleheads in the military. I was Air Force, she was Army, and to be growing together, to go from being young in the military to growing and maturing as we get older, raising our kids and the whole nine. I just really thank the Most High. I thank the Most High that I learned the lesson early on, that, the challenge, especially I'm speaking to you men out there, true men out there, the challenge is not being able to have 1,000 women, lay with 1,000 women, because there's some things that are happening in these YouTube streets or in some of the groups that I had to deal with a few years back, who's big into this polygamy stuff and just fleecing his people, operating in the spirit of perversion and all that other stuff, because he don't know how to, reserve himself, keep himself, but I thank the Most High for me being able to, like that old school would say, instead of pleasing 1,000 women one time, to be able to please my wife, be satisfied with my wife 1,000 times. One wife 1,000 times. I'll say that again. One wife 1,000 times. And I thank the Most High for all you guys. And I'm gonna tell you, I will tell you, had it not been for her, we wouldn't be doing ministry. Because if she was not comfortable with this, we would not be doing ministry. But nevertheless. Really appreciate you guys. I see some shout outs here. I want to give some shout outs to my buddy Jay Highstyle. Haven't seen you in the building in a minute, maybe because part of the reason I really don't pay attention to the chat as I used to, because been really zeroed in on the lessons that I've been given. But shout outs to my buddy Jay Highstyle. I thought I saw Sister Carol. I want to say shout outs to you. Also, Berean. I thought I saw you. I thought I saw Berean Scholar in the building. Want to say shout outs to you, my brother. Of course, again, Sister Carol. Also special shout outs because she's been showing a lot of love, and I want to give her some shout outs here. Arthur, Candace, Phillips, Anderson. Thank you for the love and support, sis, over the years. Octeria Phillips, thank you for the love and support. I know I cannot go through all the shout outs here, but I thank you guys. We'll try to get some of them in as we progress. Laura Luxie, C. McMillan, C. McMillan. Who else do we have here? Hebrew NU, Stacy Pullum. I'm just looking through some of the chat here to see if I could get a couple of names in here. Lee, shout outs to you. Absent of Thought, shout outs to you. Let's see here. Anyone else? privacy. Shout outs to you and family. I like to interact here. So, I'll be asking some questions here so I can get some additional shout outs here. But we got a lot to cover. And again, this lesson, I don't have all my slides put together. So I'm going to have to kind of wing it a little bit as far as pulling from other areas. So family, let's go ahead and start unpacking this guy right here. As a matter of fact, I'm going to do him like the old school would do. I don't know I'm not sure about you guys. I grew up old school, right? And you guys saw the post I made flipping on the dirty mattresses. I'm not going to say the term that we normally would use, but flipping on the dirty mattresses. Man, we used to jump from roof to roof. I mean, we used to literally play on rooftops, jumping from roof to roof. I remember roof, gave in. Man, we used to do all kinds of stuff, flipping off banisters, going downstairs with cardboard boxes, rock fights, man. I'm not sure if you guys remember that. We used to have rock fights. And to this, the miraculous thing is that none of us got injured by that. You know what I mean? We used to rig our own bikes. You cannot say that you grew up in our generation, the 70s and the 80s. Now I'll put the 60s in it. If you didn't put together your own bicycles, we used to rig our own bikes. Didn't have no instructions. We know how to put our chains, fix our chains. We know how to fix our inner tubes. We knew how to do all of that stuff. We used to play football on concrete. Man, don't let it snow outside. And that's right, the slap boxing. That's right. We used to do all the slap boxing and all that other stuff. But they don't do stuff like that now. Especially when it was snow, we out there playing football. But I thank the Most High for allowing us to experience those things and just be to the day that be in this day and time that we live in. But like I said, family, we got a lot to unpack from this guy right here. This when you read the scriptures, you see why Christ made it clear: call no man what? Rabbi. Call no man rabbi. That's right. The handball courts, the stickball, all that stuff. But the Most High, the Messiah told us to call no man, master. Don't call no man rabbi. And this person gives you the full understanding of why the Most High gave us that charge. All right. Gave us that charge. All right. So we're going to do this. We're going to play a video by him, and then we're going to pick apart some of his arguments. Right. But let's see what this guy had to say here. Let's play a couple of clips. We're going to be respectful, family. Let's be respectful as the best you can, because I know listening to some of this stuff can really get up under your skin like it got up under mine. But let's still try to be respectful, because we're surrounded by a cloud of witnesses. So family, let me play some of this guy stuff here. Let's start with his Genesis nonsense. Let's start with his Genesis nonsense here. Let me play that real quick.
You are reading, let's say you say, no, let's say if I take a side and I don't read the Jesus part, the Matthew and the Luke and the Stephen and the Joes, whatever it is in there, all these idol worshipers, let's say I discount them. I'm reading from the Old Testament, like they pretend like they do. I'm reading from the Old Testament, the real word of God. Okay, buddy, let's see you read. Read it to me. Read me the first verse. In the beginning, hold on a second. I said read it in the beginning. Well, no. Read it. In the beginning. I'm reading in the beginning. It's not in the beginning. Where does it say in the beginning? Where? It says right there. No, you're reading the New Testament in English.
You see, you hear the foolishness. So see, this guy to me is one of the worst, because when you listen to him, he have a thing against Christianity. We're not Christians. I'm not a Christian. I don't call myself a Christian. I am a follower of the way. I believe in Hamashiach. But this guy, you know, he used the term Black Hebrew Israelites. I hit my mic. Black Hebrew Israelites as a strategy to kind of throw shots at the Christian church. Just go at the Christian church. And then he have a video labeled Black Hebrew Israelites stolen identity, some craziness like that to draw attention to his channel. You know, want to throw rocks, want to start a fight, so to speak, want to start a discussion, but then you say you don't debate, you won't have discussions. Man, I could pick apart this guy easily. So this guy started off by trying to mock the Israelites, taking, you know, again, if you got a problem with Christianity, go for it. Talk about Christianity. If you have a problem for anything, you're entitled to talk about anything you want. But to use this awakening to try to attack another belief system, come on, that's no character, no character, no character. No character. No character. And for those that may not know this guy, he's an Orthodox Jewish guy up in the New York area. And yes, I'm pretty confident that he's Ashkenazi as well. But again, that still doesn't mean or how can I put it? That has nothing to do with him being rude and nasty the way he is. Because he want to talk about the Israelites being dangerous, being violent. But look, let me play that one more time. I want y'all to hear just no, I'm not even gonna play it because it's too long. But he said that we're violent. Let me ask you, Rabbi. Actually, I'm not calling you a rabbi. No, no, I'm not going to call you a rabbi. Let me say this to you, Mr. Reuven. Right? How many of your people that you've descended from enslaved my people? I'd love to have a discussion with you. I'll drop the link inside the comment section if you want to jump on and pick everything that you said apart with ease. How many of your people enslaved our people? And you want to talk about violent? How many of your people dominated the transatlantic world war, dominated the blackface minstrels, even was on part of the KKK? I could go right down the list. I'm not even going to use the term, the prefix that you have before your name. See, family, this is what really gets up under my skin, is when you have guys like him, you know, along with the rabbi, or not, I don't even use the term rabbi, the guy that had a discussion with Candace Owens. They want to make it seem like they have it so bad than the Negro in this country. Not a single group of people, I don't care, not a single people group had it worse than the Negro. Why? Because even the people that say that they had it the worst, guess what? They enslaved our people. Remember, Spain, Portugal, what's their ethnicity? Then when we deal with the Ashkenazi Jewish Sephardic community, come on, you guys know I show receipts on it. I may have to show it just because I mentioned it. See, this guy is one of the worst, man. When I say one of the worst, you know, want to talk tough, and you know, like that's why you see that. Let me blow this up right now. That's why you see the Cowardly Lion, because that's what he reminds me of. Can't speak for yourself, but you have to hide behind your, you know, attacks, you know, for towards Christianity, but you want to use our community as the opportunity to do so. Now, what about this so-called rabbi that Candace Owens had an exchange with when he was trying to tell her that, you know, she was wrong for responding to the so-called Rabbi Shmuley, who was bullying her for 2 years, slandering her for 2 years, and had the audacity to tell her that she was wrong for disrespecting by calling him an unholy rabbi. Come on, family. Y'all remember this guy right here?
Anti-Semitism is a hate against their religion. By the time you get to the 18th and 20th centuries, when so many Jews have assimilated, they are in culture, they are in arts, they're in science, it's no longer against them for their religion, it's against them for their race. Because anti-Semitism is the oldest hate in the world, and the hate that mutates.
You said it's a hate that mutates.
Correct.
So your belief then is that the definition of anti-Semitism can necessarily change. Is that correct?
It's not just my belief. It is the commonly accepted understanding in both the Jewish and academic worlds.
So these people, these guys, like to throw rocks and then hide their hands. When I say these guys, I'm not saying all, but you know, certain individuals within that community, like this guy right here, like to throw rocks and hide their hand. Want to talk all bold and bad against our community, calling us idiots and all that. Called us idiots, stupid idiots, whatever. But family, let's go ahead and pick this guy apart. You guys already saw the video. I could just drop the mic and leave it at that. But let's pick this guy apart. Let's pick him apart. Let's start with his first argument here when he says, okay, buddy, let's see you read it to me. Read me the first verse in the beginning. Hold on a second. I said, read it in the beginning. Where does it say or says in the beginning? See, family, matter of fact, let me play the clip and then we'll pick this apart. And then I may have to put some slides in here to pick apart this so-called, this supposed Hebrew, which is not Hebrew, right? This so-called Hebrew is actually, you should call it the Israeli language, right? I'm going to pick this guy apart, just starting with this right here. This cancels you out, just your response right here. Let's play his thing again, right? His question that he asked, right? And he says again, where does it say in the beginning? That was his question. Where does it say in the beginning? But let's play it again. And then I got another clip. I'm going to follow up with that. And then we're going to pick that first argument apart. All right, here we go, family. Let me get the clip for you guys. Where's the clip? Here we go.
You are reading. Let's say you say, no. Let's say if I take a side and I don't read the Jesus part, the Matthew and the Luke and the Stephen and the Joes, whatever it is in there, all these idol worshipers, let's say I discount them. I'm reading from the Old Testament, like they pretend like they do. I'm reading from the Old Testament, the real word of God. Okay, buddy, let's see you read. Read it to me. Read me the first verse. In the beginning, hold on a second. I said read it in the beginning. Well, no. Read it. In the beginning. I'm reading in the beginning. It's not in the beginning. Where does it say in the beginning? Well, it says right there. No, you're reading the New Testament in English.
But the Zohar insists on reading the words in the precise order in which they appear in Hebrew. Bereshit, in the beginning. Bara, it created. Elohim, God. In the beginning, it created God. The Zohar takes that to mean, in the beginning, infinity created God. Now, what could that possibly mean? God is now the object of the verse, not the subject, which sounds impossible or heretical, but the Zohar, I think, is saying that infinity is the true reality of God. Anything else that we call God is puny compared to that. That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be. That's our own imagination or our own our own estimate of what God could be.
That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be.
It doesn't do justice to the true reality of God. So infinity brought about all that we think of as God. And for the Zohar, that's the meaning of the opening of Genesis. In the beginning, infinity created what we call God.
All right, family. So let's pick this guy apart. Now we're going to deal with the idol worshiping, the affinity and the Ein Sof and all that crazy stuff. All right. But what we're going to do right now is deal with when he says, where does it say in the beginning? Because what he was trying to knock is reading the KJV or any Bible that has the New Testament or the renewed covenant in it. All right. Let me say this again. I see someone making posts in here saying that not all Jews per se do the thing with the Zohar belief. It says, well, the Zohar isn't the belief of all Jews. Every rabbi in Judaism, especially Orthodox rabbis, has to go through the teachings, the studies of the Kabbalah, which one of the sources is the Zohar. At the age of 40, that is mandatory for them to go through it. They can't go through it while they're younger, but they have to, at the age of 40, they have to be taught Jewish mysticism. All right. So with that being said, I want to say that because I see a person that kind of come across trolling here in the comments section. I'm not new to that thing with understanding their requirements. So again, let's get this going. All right. Let's get this going. So I want to make this clear. I went on and blocked someone because they were trying to say not all. No, the foundational teachings, when you start understanding the Talmud, when you start understanding all those so-called other rabbinical literature, they all are connected, period. All right. So let's go ahead and start with this guy right here. He says, okay, buddy, let's see you read it to me. Read me the first verse. In the beginning. Hold on a second. I said, read it. In the beginning. Where does it says in the beginning? Now, I just gave you a video clip of a professor from that's from the Jewish community. And what did he do? As he quoted Genesis 1:1, he started out by saying, in the beginning, Ba Rashit, right? He said, in the beginning, Ba Rashit, Bara, created, Elohim. But he said it, but he started off with, in the beginning, Ba Rashit. So that right there just dispels this argument. But let me just help a few you guys out here, because I know some of you guys are not familiar with Hebrew, or should I say ancient Hebrew and the Israeli language. And I'll explain the Israeli language here in a second. So Rabbi Reuven, no, I'm not going to call him a rabbi. Reuven, Mr. Reuven, asked the following question. Where does it say in the beginning? He's asking the question, where does it say in the beginning? Family, let me just give you a quick rundown of prefixes, especially when we deal with Hebrew. Here's some of the, I just list some of the prefixes here. In, right? In the Israeli, this letter is pronounced Beth. In the ancient Hebrew, Bayath. Just this letter alone shuts down his entire argument when he says, show me in the beginning. Now understand this, family. In, Ba. Ba. Or Be, Reshit. Right? Be, Reshit. Be. That is the prefix. I say ba in the ancient Hebrew, but be, Reshit, I'm saying it in the Israeli language. That right there is in the beginning, because guess what? I'm going to show you here when we get to there why this is important. So you have the Beth, that's Israeli, right? In the ancient, this is Ha. In the Israeli, Hey. And you see this transliterates to the or the. This is a definite, what is called a definite article, because in ancient Hebrew, there is no indefinite articles. In ancient Greek, there is no indefinite articles. So you'll see the, in other words, ha. All right. Then you have the wa for and, the lamed or lamad, 2, 4. Then we have the gamal, with. Then we have the mayam, in the Israelis pronounced nim, from. And then we have the quap, or kop, rather, in the Israeli kuf. All right. But anyway, but the kop, like. Then we have the shan, which, and I'm saying in the Israeli, sheen, right? It could be sheen or seen, but sheen. All right. But anyway, but let's go with Genesis 1:1. Let's break this down real quick. Right. Just that alone, we already done knocked them down, just understanding the prefixes of the language. Just that in itself. Ba or be, that is an ancient letter, right? That is a prefix, right? Ba is an ancient, is a prefix. So Bayath, ancient Hebrew pronunciation, Beth, Israeli. All right. But anyway, in the beginning, this is why I have this highlighted the way I do. This is ancient Hebrew. Ra'ashayath, Ba Rashayath, rather, Ba Rashayath or Ba Ra'ashayath, however you want to pronounce it. In the Israeli, it'd be Reshit, Ba Reshit. Now, some would say Bereshit, but what you're doing is when you say Be, you're pronouncing the prefix here. It's actually the prefix transliterates to N. Be, and I'm sending it in the Israeli. Be, Reshit. This is saying in beginning. The primitive root is Ra'ash or Resh, which means top, means beginning, means rank, means protocol, head, right? So Ra'ash, head, or Resh, head. So in beginning, head, in the beginning, head, in the start, in the what? In beginning, because we don't have the ha there, so it would not be a definite article there. But we see Ba Rashayath, in beginning, Alahayim. In the Israeli, it's pronounced Elohim, created the heaven and the earth. Now, some of you guys may say, Pastor, why are you saying Alahayim? See, we're dealing with, when we say Alahayim, that's dealing with ancient Hebrew, because you're never pronouncing the original letter because it's silent in this Israeli language, and they carried that over into what they call biblical Hebrew. Come on, family. Come on, family. That letter is silent. The alap in the Israeli is pronounced aleph, is silent. That in itself should be a wake-up call. But let's break this down real quick, family. So this is that verse in ancient Hebrew. Barashayath, bara, alahayim, right? The yam, that is the masculine plural, right? In the Israeli is im, right? Ath, in the Israeli ot, ha shamayam or ha shamim, right? That's, that's heavens. Wa'ath or wa'ot, right? In Israeli, but this is you, We'll deal with that. I'm not going to break this down, like parse it like how I would normally do for the sake of time. And then we see ha aratizah or ha aret or ha aret. Let me say it that way. All right. So this is ancient Hebrew. This is the Israeli, right? This is why I highlighted this the way I highlighted. Be Reshit bara Elohim et ha shamayim ve et ha everet, right? So this is the Israeli language. Now, because this guy said, where did the end come from? There's no end. Come on, family. Just because many of you guys may not know ancient Hebrew or the Israeli language doesn't mean you cannot teach or speak on the language or the passages. See, this is what many guys do to try to intimidate you or intimidate people, to try to give the impression that if you don't know how to read Hebrew or their language, which is the Israeli language, then guess what? Something is wrong with you. You don't need to be teaching. Nah, We just knocked it down. Those of you guys that understand Hebrew, was there anything that I said that misrepresented the language, whether it's the Israeli language or the ancient Hebrew? The ba or be, right? That's how it's pronounced. Is that not a prefix that transliterates to N? All right. Now, if I misquoted, let me know if I misquoted. Did I properly give you guys clarity? Because this guy said that, we're trying to insinuate that if you don't read it from the ancient language, because again, he's not reading it from the ancient language. I can prove that. For starters, let me play a clip here real quick, and then I'm going to copy a slide in here. I'm not going to go through my ancient Hebrew lesson, but I got plenty of sources to knock down some of the stuff that he pushed. Let me just show you something, family. Let me let you hear something. Just even say Elohim. Just that in itself. That's not an ancient pronunciation. Matter of fact, those that are saying El, that's not an ancient pronunciation. Because in ancient Hebrew, there's no vowel letters. There's no nikud or naquad, is how you pronounce it in ancient Hebrew. There's no vowel letters. There's no matrices lectionis. There's no dots and nothing like that. It's called the alap. But it's been silent. But let me play this clip real quick.
Here's a chart that summarizes vowel class and length. And you can see across the top the three classes, A, E, and U, and then down the side the four lengths, long, medium, short, and very short. So let's just go over this chart. We'll start with the A class vowels. The long vowel is cholam vav, and you'll recall that this says O as in snow. Now you might wonder why an O vowel is in the A class, and this is because of historical considerations. Originally there was no O sound in Hebrew.
Challenge!
Come on, family. This is too easy. This is too easy, family. This is too easy. Too easy. too easy. It's too easy to debunk. It's too easy to address every argument that this guy gave. Come on now. Come on, family. Come on, family. Come on, family. This guy, right? It's so easy. When I say it's so easy, I'm going to sound like the old Geico commercial. It's so easy that even a caveman can do it. Right? Isn't that the old Geico commercial? Right? Let me show a source. Let me put a source in here. Some other sources I could use to even prove that this so-called pronunciations of the ancient language is actually it's a 9th century, and if you want to put a 500-year curve to it, you're still going into the 4th century, right? But I'm not even going to do all of that. But I got sources that even break that down. But let me see if I want to get one key source here. Bear with me one second, because I don't want to do the whole Hebrew lesson here, but I do want to deal with what I just pointed out. All right. Since I said the Israeli language, right? Because again, I know many don't want to hear it, and I got plenty of sources to show that there was no vowel letters in terms of in ancient Hebrew, and there was not all these different vowels in ancient Hebrew. It was only the ah that was associated with every letter. But let me go ahead and bring this up real quick. Let me give you. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna do you, like they say. I'm gonna do you one good. I'm gonna up the ante here. Let me put this here. All right. So, family, remember, I'm doing this on the fly, so I'm kind of piecing some of my my stuff here. So let me go ahead and give another. Let me paste this here. All right. So I'm kind of piecing this together as we go along. But let me give you a little information here, because again, the way that things are taught, we've been had. So let me copy this over. Give me 1 second as I do this. All right. All right. Here we go. Let me give you a simple source. Make sure we show his picture too. All right. Let me give you a simple source since I mentioned it. All right. But breaking this down real quick, let me correct this slide here. We'll deal with the source in a second, but let me just break this down because I have the words here. All right. Let me just fix this slide real quick. All right. You guys know how I like doing. I like my slides to look a certain way. So let me fix this real quick. There we go. Bear with me 1 second, family. I gotta fix my slides here. All right, because it's out of whack. All right, let's do it like this. All right, we'll do it like this. All right, let's go down here. Bear with me 1 second, family. Take one more minute here. Oops. Come on. There we go. Let's try this again. All right, there we go. And let me fix this one here. All right, because my format was off, so I don't like my presentations. It looks sloppy here. All right. There we go. There we go. It looks much better. Okay. So since we dealt with the word beginning, let me go ahead and just touch on that real quick. All right. Here is the Hebrew word for beginning. In the Israeli, Bereshit, right? Notice what it says. The first order or rank, specifically a first fruit, beginning, chief, chiefess, first fruits, first part, first time, principal thing, first, beginning, best, chief. So that is Bereshit. And notice you don't see Bereshit. because again, that Beth or Bayath is a prefix, right? Which transliterates to N. Then we see create, bara. Let's see what it means. You see it here. It says to create, feed, choose, shape, form. Okay. So just want to give you some clarity here. Then when we see that word oth, right, it transliterates to the word you. Let me bring that up here, right? You see ata, right? Oth or atha, right? But you see here, it says ata or oth, right? So it says thee or ye or you. Why is that important? The proper translation is in the beginning, Elohim created you, the heavens, and you, the earth. Puts it in a totally different perspective of understanding that. And if you want to confirm what it's actually saying, the full understanding of that verse 1, chapter 1, verse 1, you get the answer in chapter 2, verse 1. Anyway, just thought I should throw a little nugget there. So when I dealt with and understanding the ancient Hebrew, again, it did not have all these vowel sounds that you see today. It had an ah associated with all the letters, all the consonants, right? And that's not unusual because this language right here is actually ga'az, not geez or ge'ez. It's actually ga'az, right? This letter or this language before the 4th century only had ah associated with it. It is a Shemitic language. Ga'az is an ancient Shemitic language, right? And it comes from the Sabines language, right? And those languages at that time did not have any other vowels but the ah, right? So let me show you here. Before the 4th century, Ge'ez or Ga'az had not made use of vowels, but the usage of vowels was incorporated into Ga'az, now Ge'ez, and actually Amharic. The Ascumites converted to Christianity, which occurred sometime in the 4th century. All right. But the key that I want to get to is this right here. Right. So this is Ga'az coming from the Sabi language. But I'm going to read the sounds, and I could drop this link here so that way you guys see EthiopianHistory.com. This is not me making this up. This is not me misrepresenting the source. So let me zoom in here. Notice what you see here. Ah, ba, ga, da, za, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, sa, ka, ra, wa, za, ha, na, sa, ta, fa. That is the actual pronunciation of the ancient Ethiopian language. And if you study ancient Hebrew, guess what? It lines right up with it. Come on, family. I'm giving you sources. I'm not just making stuff up on a whim. This is heavily researched sources that I took time out to research and been teaching this for years. All right. Been teaching this for years. All right. But let's not stop there. Right. Let's not stop there. Let's not stop there. Let's not stop there. Let me make sure I got the other slide here. Let's not stop here because we got some other things we need to knock down of this guy. Oh, you know what? I forgot one slide. Let me put this slide in here before I go to the other slide. Let me show you what why we should be referring to these so-called modern Hebrew. We should we should call it the Israeli language. So let me bring this source in right here. All right, let me do it real quick. All right, too easy, family. Too easy. All right, let me Let me just fix this slide up a little bit. All right, now I'm going to show you this source here. Some of you guys already know this because I shared this a number of times. So let's go ahead to this source. Language Revival and Multiple Causation, the Mosaic Genesis of the Israeli Language. Now have me sounding like Donald Trump. Israeli language, not Hebrew, not biblical Hebrew. It is the Israeli language. But the Israeli language, they didn't say modern Hebrew. They called it the Israeli language. Oh, why did it do that? Let me fix this slide real quick. See, this is what happens when I do things on the slide. On the fly. Let me fix this slide. There we go. That's better. Here we go. For more than 1,700 years thereafter, Hebrew was comatose, either a sleeping beauty or a walking dead. It served as a liturgical and literary language, and occasionally also as a lingua franca for Jews of the diaspora, but not as a mother tongue. The formation of Israeli, the name I use for so-called modern Hebrew, was facilitated at the end of the 19th century by Eliezer ben Yehuda, who basically created a smorgasbord of languages. He just piecemealed a language, and now that became the national language. But notice what it says: school teacher and others to further the Zionist cause. Earlier during the Haskalah, in other words, Enlightenment period of the 1770s and 1880s, writers such as Mendele Mokhar Safarim produced works in neologism, which eventually contributed to Israeli. However, it was not until the beginning of the 20th century that the language was first spoken. As a result of distinctive characters, such as the lack of continuous chain of native speakers from Hebrew to Israeli, Israeli presented the linguists with a unique laboratory in which to test a wider set of theoretical problems concerning language genesis and evolution. Indeed, the genetic classification of Israeli has preoccupied linguists. From the beginning of the 20th century, the still prevalent traditional view suggests that Israeli is Shemitic or Semitic. In other words, Hebrew revived. Notice what it says here: educators, scholars, and politicians have contributed to this assumption. So what they're saying here is that educators, politicians, all these guys are in on the hustle. This language that they're calling a modern Hebrew, this is all part of a political movement here, right? Educators, scholars, and politicians have contributed to this what? Assumption. And guess what? Those that call themselves reading or biblical Hebrew or studying or learning biblical Hebrew, the pronunciation, the phonology still points to the Israeli language. Because remember, there was no dots. There was no vowel letters in ancient Hebrew. If need be, I'll show another source. Come on, family. But let's see what else it says here. Real quick, let's see what else it says here. It goes on to say revisionists, right? These are people that are changing history. They're not just changing. Remember, Genesis 10 tells us the foundation, the three major pillars of what constitutes a nation is language, family, and tongues. Language, family, and land. Land, family, and tongues. So guess what? Revisionists have changed all that, took a language that did not belong to them and created their own language, right? But notice what it says. Revisionists countered that it is actually Indo-European. Remember, we did the lesson on the deception of the English language? Indo-European what? Yiddish, in other words, relexified, that is Yiddish with Hebrew vocabulary. My hypothesis is that Israeli is a hybrid language, both Shemitic and Indo-European. I argue that both Hebrew and Yiddish act equally as its primary contributor, accompanied by a plethora of other contributors such as Polish, Russian, German, Judeo-Spanish, in other words, Ladino, Arabic, English, and etc. Thus, the term Israeli is far more appropriate than Israeli Hebrew. So it said, don't even use the word Hebrew associated with that language. It says Israeli, just call it Israeli. Israeli language. That's why it's titled Israeli language. And this is Oxford, let alone modern Hebrew or Hebrew to court. In this article, this is what it points out. This is key right here as well. Yet the closer scrutiny challenges the perception the victorious Hebrew may, after all, be partly Yiddish at heart. In other words, Yiddish survives beneath Israeli phonetics, phonology, syntax, lexis, and even morphology. Although traditional and institutional linguists have been reluctant to admit it. So it's saying the educators, they're educators, they don't want to admit it. They know the truth, but they don't want to publicly admit it. This is why when you really start studying the languages, if you have a Strong's Concordance, go to the primitive root words. Most of those primitive root words that have originated in ancient Hebrew, you will not see anything but an ah sound associated with each consonant. That's why instead of saying Moshe, it's actually Masha. It's still the same consonants, but guess what? Now you're taking away their accent that they placed over the pronunciation over the letters. Come on, family. This is why you hear many of us saying Yahweh. That's his name. Yah plus Hawa means what? He exists. So it says here, Yiddish survives beneath Israeli phonetics, phonology, syntax, lexis, and even morphology, although traditional and institutional linguists have been reluctant to admit it. I think I need to bring the challenge back out again, family. I think I need to bring the challenge out again.
Challenge!
So let me give you one more source, and then we're going to continue to pick apart this Reuven person. All right. Ancient Hebrew, phonology, Cornell University, Gary A. Rensburg, excuse me for butchering his name. Let's see what he says about it. Let's see what he has to say here. The question remains as to how accurately the reading tradition of the biblical text and the Masoretic transcription thereof reflects ancient Hebrew. Notice what it says here, family. That is to say, the Masoretic text, that is, the traditional text of the Bible, dates to 850 CE. Wait a minute, that's the Middle Ages. That is the Middle Ages. 850, that's Middle Ages. But notice what he says here. And reflects the manner in which biblical Hebrew was pronounced at that time. This is not saying ancient Hebrew, but it says at that time. What time? 850 CE. At that time. But notice what he says here, because they're going to put a 500-year curve on this. So we're dealing with the 9th century, but notice what it says here. But how traditional, an example, how ancient was the reading tradition of the readers for the centuries before the Common Era, right? 850 Common Era. In other words, does the Masoretic text reflects Hebrew as it was pronounced 500 years earlier, 1,000 years earlier, even 1,500 years earlier? In some cases, we can answer this question but no definitive conclusion can be reached. Come on, family. Who want come test, family? Anyone that try to make you feel bad because you refuse to learn this Israeli language, guess what? They are trying to what? Well, actually, they're operating under the delusion as well. They are operating under the deception right now. As you see here, 850 Common Era. That's the 9th century, basically. Actually, it's the 9th century. So if you even wanted to go back 500 years, right? But it's saying it wasn't even 500 years prior. They can't even say that it was actually pronounced that way. But guess what? We have Ga'az that confirms that I just shared with you guys. Come on, family. Again, it goes on to say, but no definitive conclusion can be reached. But notice what it says here. Nevertheless, we will base ourselves on the assumption, on the what? Assumption that the readers of the first millennium Common Era was extremely conservative in their biblical reading tradition, and that the Masoretic text more or less accurately reflects the pronunciation. Come on, family. Did you guys catch that? Now, let me give some shout outs here. I see some contributions here. Let me see here. Yah's daughter. Want to thank you for the love and support. Thank you for the contribution tonight. Also, family, let's show some love to Trey Capo. Says the Most High is the mighty one of Jacob, in other words, Jacob, not the mighty one of Jew. Our Hamashiach was the line of Yahuda or Yahwadah. These gaslighting attacks are to keep us doubting him. Let's believe the whole Bible. Absolutely. See, this is what they want to do, is try to continue to insert confusion, tear down our Messiah, the Negro Messiah, and introduce a so-called Messiah that's a reflection of them, their community, just like what the church has done. A Caucasian Christ, right? A Caesar Borgia that looks just like them, a Messiah that looks like them, but not the true Messiah of the ancient text. All right. Also want to give shout outs to Lisa Jackson. They couldn't even read the Hebrew text in the church in Savannah, Georgia. That's right. Can't even read the text there. Guess what? I read a couple of the pews. I translated a couple of the pews. You see it in the intro of this video, or, every teaching. When you hear the lions not sleeping tonight, we woke now. That's on the pews, right? That's on that main pew. You come up the steps. So family, let's show some love to everyone that contributed tonight. Thank you guys for the love and support. Really appreciate you guys. So let's go to another one of his arguments here, family. Like I said, I could go further with the whole thing with the language, but I just don't want to spend a lot of time on that. We've been going for an hour now. So let's go ahead and keep it going, family. Let's keep it going. All right. So he said those Israelite idiots, Goyim, they're not idiots because of Goyim. They happen to be the idiots among the nations. There's a lot to unpack here, family. It has that racial, that prejudice overtone to it. It makes me think about this right here. This is the giveaway for me. When I heard his video and he said this here, and I'm getting ready to play it. That's why I had to put the Cedric Entertainer comedy stand-up piece from his skit back when he was on the Apollo. I believe that was his first time on the Apollo. This is when Martin Lawrence was officiating Def Jam comedies. But listen to it real quick.
Go find me one African American black guy in Iraq. Find one. You're not gonna find. Now, I love black people. I have plenty of black students and black friends. Now, I love black people. I have plenty of black students and black friends.
Now, I love black people. I have plenty of black students and black friends.
Well, you know how white people are when they try to get you to feel comfortable, man? He said all the wrong stuff, talking about, you know what, Slater? I like black people. I got a pair of black boots. I got a black pickup truck. I even got a colored TV. I was like, damn, bam! Now you got a black eye.
Come on, family. Did this Cedric Entertainer, did that clip nail it, hit it on the nail, the overtone, and someone said overtone and undertone? Did he hit it on the nail in describing this person, Yaron Reuven? What the tone? Did he hit it on the nail? If he hit it on the nail, matter of fact, I'm going to let me put this inside the chat. I haven't done this in a minute. Let's start a poll here. Let's see here. All right. So I'm gonna start this poll here. All right, here we go. If you guys feel like he nailed it, hit yes. If you feel like he didn't nail it, type no. I mean, did he give you an accurate depiction of this guy right here? Did he give you an accurate depiction of, just with the example that I share with you guys? I'll play it one more time so that way you guys can accurately vote. I'll play it one more time. Let's see here. For those that didn't hear it, let me play it one more time, then we'll continue here.
Go find me one African American black guy in Iraq. Find one. You're not gonna find. Now, I love black people. I have plenty of black students and black friends. Now, I love black people. I have plenty of black students and black friends.
Now, I love black people. I have plenty of black students and black friends.
Well, you know how white people are when they try to get you to feel comfortable, man? He said all the wrong stuff, talking about, you know what, Slater? I like black people. Hell, I got a pair of black boots. I got a black pickup truck. I even got a colored TV. I was like, damn, bam! Now you got a black eye.
Family, did he nail it or what? We had over 800 people in the building. Well, let's get the poll up. Right now we have 61 people voted, and also get those thumbs up. Let's see if we could get to 500 likes before the night is over. We had 329 right now. Let's get those thumbs up. It doesn't cost you anything to click that like button. It doesn't cost you anything, right? And matter of fact, I see my sister Carol in the building. Let me drop this link here just in case you want to jump on, or Jay Highstyle, or even my brother Berean Scholar. If you want to jump on, feel free as I progress here. I just thought about this. Let me put this on here. All right. All right. So let's break a few things down here real quick, family. This is what he said. Those Israelite idiot, Goyim, they're not idiots because of Goyim. They happen to be the idiots among the nations. If we said that about their community, you know what happened. You guys know what would happen, family. You guys know what would happen. So what do this rabbi mean with calling the Israelites an idiot Goyim? What is the meaning of Goyim? Let's start with the Strongs, the Hebrew Strongs, right? In the Israeli language, Goy, ancient Hebrew, Gawai, all right, Gawai, all right. Let's see what this word means. It says in a foreign nation, Gentile, heathen, nation, people. So Goyim, or Gawayam, I'm saying it in the plural, in the ancient Hebrew, it simply means nation. That's what it simply means, family. All this other stuff, Gentile, the way that it's used today, agendas are behind it. Heathen, agendas are behind it. If you go to the actual translation, you'll see Gawayam or Goyim, or you'll see the singular or the plural. But let me prove that Israel was also called Gentile. But this is the etymological dictionary definition of this before we get over to it. It says, one who is not a Jew. Come on, family. That right there is a red flag. One who is not a Jew. That word Jew is a word of confusion. When did the word Jew become synonymous to all of Israel? And don't let anyone try to use the deception of poorly teaching Esther out of the proper context, because you have to understand Esther, Nehemiah, Ezra, they were all in the same era. And you will not find the word Jew being used synonymous to all of Israel, or even just the proper word would be Yahwadah in the ancient Hebrew. Some of you guys would say Yehuda, right? It should not be this word Jew, which began its conception in the 12th century. But when we look up the word, I'll just use Judah, for example. Judah was the name of the southern kingdom, also the name of a tribe, and also the name of individuals. For example, Judas, his name was Judah. So when we understand Judah, the southern kingdom, there was still a distinction between Judah, the tribe, and the Benjamites, the tribe of Benjamin. There was still a distinction. That's why Paul was able to say that he is a Benjamite. Isn't that the word? One who is not a Jew, that right there is a red flag to show you who has the influence over this publication. All right. See my sister Carol in the building. What's up, Sister Carol? Unmute yourself if you're there. All right. All right. Let's keep.
There we go. Sorry about that. I didn't know I was muted.
Okay. How's it going, sis?
Oh, going well. Shalom. Go back to your teaching.
All right. Well, let me know if you have something to say, okay?
Okay.
All right. All right. Let's continue, family. So we see here one who is not a Jew, one who is not a Christian. Wait a minute. One who is not a Jew. And it says in the 14th, it says earlier, in other words, saying that at one time, this word meant one who is not a Christian or a pagan. From the late Latin noun use of the Latin gentilius, of the same family or clan. In other words, saying that this word at when you really start peeling this banana, Gentile, of the same family or clan, race, clan. Gentile, as it says, come from the Proto-Indo-European root, gene. In other words, give birth, beget. All right. It goes on to say the Latin word then was used in the Vulgate to translate Greek ethnikos. In other words, this is where we get the word ethnic, right? Ethnikos or ethnos, you'll see that word is used for the non-blood descendants of Israel. You'll see Hellenists or Hellenistes, right? You'll see that Greek word being used in association with the Israelites that was Hellenized. That's how you can make a distinction. When you see Greek, neither Greek nor Jew, or Jew nor Greek, or Gentiles, excuse me, the Jew first, then the Gentiles, or whatever the case may be, whatever you see there, you'll see in the Greek, you'll see there, you'll see Hellenists or Hellenistes. That right there tells you that they're dealing with the northern and southern kingdom. I think it's Romans chapter 2, where you see both words, ethnos as well as Hellenists, right? Hellenistes or whatever. You see that Hellenistes, Israelites, that was Hellenized. But then you see ethnos dealing with the non-blood descendants of Israel as a whole. All right. So Gawayam simply means nations. It was used to describe all the nations, including the Israelites. Well, Pastor, you got to prove this. Let's go to Exodus chapter 19, verse 6. And ye shall be unto me a kingdom, Mamalakath, of priests, Kahan Yam, and holy Quadawash or Quadash, nation Gawai or Goy, right? Israeli Goy, right? Or Gawai, right? As we see here, this word is still being transliterated over to nation. However you want to pronounce it. If you want to just play it safe and go with the Goy, that's I'm not making it a big deal. But we see that word being used to the Israelites. It's right here on the screen, family. It's right here on the screen. All right. So let's go to Exodus chapter 19, verse 6. Right. Actually, this is 83rd book of Psalms, because I just did Exodus. Excuse me. They have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. So when you deal with nations in this plurality, right, that's where you see Goyim or Gawayam. But Goy is singular, a single nation. So Israel as a whole was one nation. So it says here, they have said, come, let us cut them off from being a nation. And you see that word again, Gawai or Goy, nation. So we see that same word being transliterated, that is being transliterated to Gentile, being transliterated to nation, being transliterated to heathen. We see this same word for the Israelites, right? So again, this rabbi has the overtone of Rabbi Gottlieb. Those who major complexions are black are excluded in the world to come. But anyway, so that's pretty simple. We knocked that down. So we dealt with that word Goyim or Goyim or Gawayam. You'll see that also in Genesis 10 being used for not just Japheth, the descendants of Japheth. You'll also see it being used for Ham. You'll see the same word being used for Shem. All right, family. So someone posted Corinthians 12 and 2. Let me go there real quick and I can tell you what is there. 1 Corinthians 12 and 2. All right. And we see ethnos there. So it says, ye know that ye were Gentiles, and you'll see the word ethnos. All right. Okay. All right. But anyway, let's continue to pick apart some of this guy's arguments that he posted here. So this this person used his arguments against the New Testament against the Negroes being descendants of Israel. When you watch his video, he didn't give any information to prove that we're not connected to the ancient Israelites. Everything that he said was arguments against Christianity. All right. Got my buddy Jay Highstyle jumping in here real quick. All right. See my buddy Jay Highstyle before I continue. Jay Highstyle, anything you want to share with the people? How you doing, my buddy, my friend?
Peace and blessings, Pastor. It's been a little while since I've been on. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All I have to say for this guy is, oh, what a tangled web we weave in order to deceive. When it's pure deception, you got to keep up with the lies after lie after lie, and they just compound on each other to the point where people can clearly see that you're doing just that. You're lying. So yeah, this guy needs to be given the garbage can, the chair, the 3-piece, everything. I know I'm
everything, right? Yeah, when I heard it though, man, because it's 2 videos he did. When I listened to his initial video, I was like, I said, no way this guy's actually thinking he's doing something, like he's shutting somebody down.
Right.
And all his arguments was against Christianity itself. He was using arguments against Christianity to come at the Israelites, but he won't go at their, let's just say, Dr. Brown, because Dr. Brown believes in Christ.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
He don't go against the Shapiras, right? Because they refer to themselves as Messianic Israelites. Or Jews, Messianic Jews, rather. But he decided that he wanted to bring the smoke to our community and basically try to use us to throw shots at Christianity.
Well, if you heard him in this video that you played in the beginning, he stated that he's new to Judaism. He just learned Judaism.
Oh, yeah.
And we're also the biggest threat to his livelihood right now. Not just his lives, but also his livelihood.
Yeah. Yeah. Unbelievable, right?
Yeah.
Unbelievable, man. When I listened to it, I was like, this guy, I was like, man, I can see why he said he don't want to debate anyone.
Mm-mm. Especially when you just a brand new convert. That right there cracked me up. I'm like, who you talk about anybody? You just converted. You decided to follow this religion.
Yeah. Yeah. And before we continue, let me show something here. Let me show a clip here, and you guys can elaborate on it. Let me show this clip here. I just copied a source here to knock it down real quick, but let me go to a clip here that he said here about proof. Let's go to another thing here. Let me pull it up. Where is it? I just had it here. Oh, yeah, here it is.
Now, of course, if you want to deal with the whole race card, this is what makes them stupid. The first 2 makes them ignorant. The third one is what makes them stupid. Why? They claim to be the original Jews because the original Jews, according to morons, were black. Now, all you need to do is read the Torah to know there could never be a possibility that the original Jews were black. Why? Where did the Jews start from? They're going to tell you all types of mumbo jumbles depending on who the yeller is. But the truth is, where did Am Yisrael start from? Avraham Avinu. So where do we learn about Avraham for the first time? Where? They're going to tell you, oh, we learn about him in Parashat Lech Lecha. No, it's not Lech Lecha, it's Lech Lecha, and it's not that. We learned the first time about Avraham at the end of Parashat Noach. Noach, ish tzaddik tamim bedorotav. Noach, that's the parasha. At the end of Parashat Noach, we learn about the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel, actually one of the people that was part of the Tower of Babel, one of the wicked people, was Avraham's father, Terach. Okay? Now, this is where everything was. Babel had a place in it called Ur Kasdim. That's where Avraham was thrown into the fire by Nimrod. Where is Babel? That's Babylon. That's Iraq. Iraq, if you want to see it in English. It's, go find me one African American black guy in Iraq. Find one. You're not going to find.
Newark. Anyway.
Doesn't he realize the people that are there today are not the indigenous people? This guy.
African Americans over in Iraq. Where did he get that from?
Just even the argument, find me an African American.
Yeah, in Iraq.
If they are over there, they would not be referred to as African Americans. They would be referred to as Afro-Iranians.
Crack me up. Where is he getting that from? That's hilarious.
You know,
I'm sorry, but the language totally throws me off. Yiddish, whatever you want to call it, it sounds like gibberish to me, to be honest.
He's like the man in the barbershop in Coming to America. That's who he reminds me of. Sitting in
Yeah,
the chair,
yeah.
talking noise.
I could deal with the man, the man that Eddie Murphy portrayed. I could deal with him better.
Mm-hmm.
I could deal with him. Newark. I was like, oh my goodness, man, he about to blow a blood vessel.
No,
so let's just knock this down real quick. Let's just knock this down real quick, family. This is the Anacalypse. Let's see here. This is an attempt to draw aside the veil of these Sadic. I could point this inside the chat. But nevertheless, let's see what they say about the Chaldees. It says this here: in consequence to the prejudice, for it is really prejudice against the Negro, or I ought rather to say, against the possibility of a Negro being learned and scientific, arising from an acquaintance with the present Negro character. I admit with great difficulty the theory of all the early astronomical knowledge of the Chaldees, it goes on to say, having been acquired or invented by his race, that it says in that the Chaldees were originally Negroes. All right, family, the Chaldees were originally Negroes. So they want us to visualize Abraham, like that photo I would show from time to time. I don't have it in here. We have all those young Negro kids in Africa sitting, and you got this Caucasian boy sitting among them, and they giving them the look like, who is this guy right here? So family, just this source right here alone, we can shut it down. You know, come on, family. You know, it's I tell you guys, this is, I think his nickname should be Too Easy. I think his name, we guys think, we think we should call him Too Easy?
No, call him Mr. Reuven. That's his name. Mr. Reuven. Mr.
I mean,
Mr. Ignorance is more like it.
I mean, you can't.
Mr. White Man.
Let me put this here. I'm gonna copy this over, family, for you guys to. This is the source that I'm reading from. All right, there you go. So, family, that we just knocked that down real quick. Let's see what else. What else do we have to prove? Right? Let's see here.
Oh yeah.
He also talked about, right, when you listen to the video clip, he tried to use arguments about Stephen misquoting Torah. Family, we know that, if you really study the scriptures, it's not just a New Testament thing per se. You're going to see in many passages, that some of the numbers are going to be off, especially when we start dealing with, when you understand the whole book of Acts. It's actually a letter that was written by Luke to his to Theophilus. He giving them an account of what's been going on, what was going on with the followers of the way. All right, but he's given an account of what Stephen said. His words while he was on trial. But these are the arguments that he tried to use just to supposedly prove that we're not the people of the book. So this person, said, hey, you want some proofs that we didn't steal your identity and you're still following Christianity? I'm still trying to get this, trying to unpack this, right? Or wrap my head around it, rather. Why does he keep saying that want proof that they didn't steal our identity, but yet he's trying to give talking points against the New Testament? Does that make sense, guys? And if you guys talking, unmute yourself.
Yes. Absolutely.
I mean, it makes absolutely no sense to me. All right. So, and Apostle Curtis, I dropped a link if you want to jump on, feel free to do so. But it makes absolutely no sense. But let me just give you a little pushback to this guy. Because I had non-Messianic brews. I done dealt with rabbis. You name it, I've dealt with it. And I can tell you emphatically, whatever arguments they want to use to try to discredit the renewed testament or the renewed covenant, I can use those same arguments against them. So let's go. Let's pick this guy apart real quick. Let me give you something here, family, so that way you can grab hold of this. So rabbi, this I ain't gonna let me stop calling him a rabbi. This Reuven guy, right? So-called or supposedly attempted to prove that they didn't steal our identity using arguments against the Catholic Christian Church and what is called the New Testament. Makes absolutely no sense. So he went to Genesis 23 and 19, and this is what he read. And this is dealing with Abraham, right? As far as his burial, the cave that he purchased, right? To bury Sarah. It says, in the field of Ephron, which was in Machpelah, which was before Mamre, the field and the cave which was therein, and all the trees that were in the field that were in all the borders round about were made sure. All right, verse 18, unto Abraham for a possession in the presence of the children of Heth. All right, so this is what he wants to make an argument against. All right, this is what he wants to make an argument against. And the key is verse 19. And after this, Abraham buried Sarah, his wife, in the cave of the field of Machpelah before Mamre, the same in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. Right. So when we go to Acts, and this is Stephen giving his account, and only thing Luke did was wrote down his account. But this is Stephen on trial, giving an account. He's giving a synopsis, or a summary rather, of the history of the Israelites. But this is what he says. So Jacob went down to Egypt and died, he and our fathers, and were carried away into Shechem and laid in the sepulchre that Abraham brought for a sum of money of the sons of Emor, the father of Shechem. All right. So how is a supposed misquote by Stephen, not by Luke, but Stephen himself, how is a supposed misquote proof to this Reuven guy that they didn't steal our identity. Family, does that have someone misquoting? Does that have anything to do with identity? And Apostle Curtis, shout outs to you. I dropped the link in the comment section. If you want to jump on, feel free to do so. But what do you think, guys? Does that have anything to do with anything?
Absolutely not, whatsoever. It's
Not
grasping at straws. Absolutely not.
It has nothing to do with it.
None.
And again, the book of Acts, for those that don't know, is a letter Luke wrote and sent to his friend Theophilus. Luke is simply giving the account of different historical events, such as the day of Pentecost, Paul's trials, Stephen's trial as well, and other history. And this is what this guy says. If a book has mistakes in it, it's certainly not from God. Well, guess what? That entire Talmud is not from the Most High.
Absolutely.
It's filled with all kinds of, not mistakes, I'm going to say witchcraft. It's more than just mistakes, errors.
Well, my question is this. What was he prior to converting to Judaism? What made him convert to Judaism since he's new to it?
Well, I mean, again, he's in the Orthodox community, so more than likely he's Ashkenazi, whether it's Ashkenazi, Polish, Romania,
right?
Lithuania. He's around that area.
But his practice, his religious practice, he claimed he just converted. He didn't know anything about Judaism. He just converted to Judaism. So what was he practicing prior to converting to Judaism?
Oh, yeah. Well, quite honestly, I really don't care.
It's like Christianity.
I don't care because he can't even. It probably was, but I really don't care because he even messed up. He can't even break down Christianity correctly.
Exactly. That's my whole point. That's why I said that.
He's
That is exactly
all
why
over
I
the
asked the
place.
question.
He's just one mixed up character.
Yeah, exactly. He wants to be somebody, and he's nobody. He's trying to make a presence for himself.
Yeah. Now here's another scripture. This is scripture he quoted as well, guys. Genesis 4:46 and 27, dealing with the number of people that came out of that was with Jacob when they came into Egypt. And it says 70 here. It says the souls of the house of Jacob, which came into Egypt, were 70. He quoted Acts 7:27, which says this: Then sent Joseph and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kind, 15 souls. So instead of 70, he's saying 75, right? But the question again, how is this supposed misquote proof that they didn't steal our identity? But I'm going to use his own argument against him, because based upon him, if there's any misquotes, we got to throw out everything. So let's go to, I'm just going to give you one example, but let's go to David. How many shekels of gold David used to purchase the threshing floor? 1 Chronicles 21:24. It says this: And King David said it to Ornan, Nay, but I will verily buy it for the full price, for I will not take that which is thine for Yahweh, nor offer burnt offerings without cost. So David gave to Ornan for the place 600 shekels of gold by weight. So here in this passage, he gave 600 shekels. 1 Chronicles 21:24 says David paid 600 shekels of gold. But guess what? When we go to 2 Samuel 24, verse 24, it says, so David brought the threshing floor and the oxen for 50 shekels of silver. Now, do we just throw out the scriptures because of this, the conflict of the numbers here?
Absolutely not.
Now, family, this is his argument. That's why I say when I deal with guys like him, I make it clear. I don't have to deal. I don't have to deal with the New Testament or the renewed covenant to deal with guys like this. I can stay in their space. Every argument they try to use to discredit the renewed covenant, I can use the same arguments to shut them down. Any comments, guys?
You're absolutely right. You can even argue with them with their own text, Talmud.
Oh, and I didn't get to the Talmud yet.
Exactly.
I mean, but
he's
go ahead, sis.
He's just trying to make a name for himself. He's found an outlet, an algorithm to come at us to put some sound bites out against the Negro, the so-called African Americans, the black people that he knows, by telling us that we are Goyim and that we're nothing but Christians because we follow the New Testament. And if you want to be like him, who just recently became a Jew by converting to Judaism, you got to convert to a Jew. That's
apparently he's a rabbi now in their circle.
Yeah, he graduated, and he's been awarded that. So now his plight is to come at us, so he can make a name for himself.
Oh yeah, that's how they normally do.
Yeah,
that's how they normally do. Let me give some quick shout outs here. I didn't even know I had some super chats here. Let me give shout outs to Ronnie Johnson. Thank you for the super sticker, family. Let's show Ronnie Johnson some love here. Arthur Candace Phillips Anderson. Pastor Kelly broke him like a toothpick. Appreciate it, sis. Thank you for the love and support. Let's show Arthur Candace Phillips Anderson some love for the love and support tonight. Also, Trey Capo. To everyone, may Abba bless you and keep you. May he make his face shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May he lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace all the days of your life. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. And that's coming from Numbers chapter 6. Thank you for the contribution. Really appreciate it. Let's see here. Apostle Curtis in the building. Thank you for the love and support. Apostle Shalom, Pastor Kelly, and family. And I dropped the the link to the chat if you want to jump on. Elder in the building, family. Let's show Elder some love here, holding it down in California. Really appreciate the love and support. Lisa Jackson, thank you for the love and support. They couldn't even read the Hebrew text in the church in Savannah, Georgia. Absolutely. All right. And who else? Let's see here. Again, Trey Capo, thank you for the love and support, the multiple super chats, and also Yah's daughter. Family, let's show them some love tonight. Hallelujah. So this person said that it's idol worshiping following the Messiah. It's idol worshiping if we endorse the New Testament per se. That's what he said. So according to his logic, the New Testament promotes idolatry because of the acknowledgement of Christ, and this nullifies any Negro from being a so-called Jew. Come on, family. But go ahead. I thought I heard you going to say something, Sister Carol.
No, I'm just laughing. Go ahead.
So Judaism, since you want to talk about following Christ, you want to talk about anyone that embraces the renewed covenant or New Testament is idol worshiping. But yet Judaism promotes the worship of Moloch and sacrificing children. Somebody help me make this make sense. He want to talk about the New Testament being idolatry because of the Messiah, but yet in Judaism, in his Talmud, that I'm sure that he, was part of his training, Judaism promotes the worship of Moloch and child sacrifices. You guys want to say anything before I go into this real quick?
And don't forget about that Wailing Wall that they copulate against.
Oh yeah, I'm getting there. You know I'm not gonna leave that out. You know I'm not leaving that out. But I appreciate it, Jay High Style. You know I'm not leaving that out. We're gonna get to that Welling Wall, that davening, right? That copulation on the wall. And we'll let their own people explain it here.
Just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I totally agree. So Judaism promotes the worship of Malak and child sacrifice. So let's go to the Sanhedrin 64a. Let's see what it says. It says here, he who gives his seed to Molech incurs no punishment unless he delivers it to Molech and causes it to pass through the fire. If he gave it to Molech, but did not cause it to pass through the fire, or the reverse, he incurs no penalty unless he do both. That's child sacrifice. They're talking about this here, family. But then the Gemara, right, it goes on to say the Mishnah teaches idolatry and giving to Molech. Then a rabbi chimed in saying, our Mishnah is in accordance with the view that Molech worship is not idolatry. Notice what it says. It said that Molech worship is not idolatry. For it has been taught, if one causes his seed to pass through the fire, whether to Molech or to any other idol, he is liable to death. Eliezer, Rabbi Eliezer, son of Rabbi Simeon, said, if to Molech, he is liable. If to another idol, he is not. So another rabbi chimed in and said, well, you know what? He's liable. He has to pay the consequences if he sacrifices his child to Molech. But if he sacrifices his child to another idol, he's not. Come on, family. Judaism also promotes the usage of enchantments and charms, right? Promotes the matter of fact, I put this in the video too, and I forgot to make the clip and put it in here. But let me show you here. Sanhedrin 101a, enchanting. Our rabbis taught it is permitted to consult by a charm the spirit of oil or eggs. So you can use charms for oil or eggs. And remember, in the video clip that I uploaded over the weekend, they have charms. Shekinah charms. I may have it here. I may have it uploaded. Shekinah charms that they put over their babies' cribs. Charms. Or they call it amulets. So it is permitted to consult by a charm the spirit of oil or eggs, but that they give false answers. Incantations are made over oil contained in a vessel, but not in the hand. Therefore, one may anoint the latter, but not with the former. You go to the footnotes. This is giving you more information here. It says here, dealing with plants, but it says here, which could be provoked by incantations. Then it gives us a passage here. It goes on to say both eggs and oil were used for purposes of magic and in folk medicine, right? But also here it says this states the practice, not a ruling, but again, this is let you know that it's okay for them to do what? Practice. That's what it says here. All right. Also, the Talmud promotes pedophilia. Sanhedrin 54b. In the case of a male child, a young one is not regarded as on a par with an old one, but a young beast is treated as an old one. What is meant by this? Rabbi said, pederasty, with a child below 9 years of age is not deemed as pederasty. With a child above that, Sammy said pederasty with a child below 3 years is not treated as as with a child above that. With what is the basis of their dispute? So it said, what's the purpose of the dispute? Rabbi maintains that only he who is able to engage in sexual intercourse may have the passive subject of pederasty. In other words, it's saying if they can do whatever they want to it, right? But they have to know how to engage in it, basically. So they can't label it pederasty. If an adult molest a child, well, the child, hey, like they said here, the child basically only if the child is able to engage. In other words, know what they're doing, basically. Throw guilt upon the active offender, whilst he who is unable to engage in sexual intercourse cannot be a passive subject, right? And then we go to the footnotes. It says here, it says the reference is to the passage above, passive subject of sodomy as stated in Supra 54a. Guilt is incurred by the active participant, even if the former be a minor, an example, less than 13 years old. Now, however, it is stated that the age a distinction is drawn. So now it's saying now the age of distinction is drawn. Or what's the age of distinction? I didn't put it in here. But the age of distinction is 3. The age of distinction is 3. Let me see if I could pull it up here. Guys, if you guys want to share some comments while I try to pull this up here, feel free to do so.
Sounds like satanic worship to me. What's that cat's name? Aleister Crowley, do as thou wilt. That's what it sounds like to me that these guys are doing.
And Sister Carol, if you're speaking, your mic may be muted.
No, hold on mute.
Anything you want to share, sis, while I try to pull this up here?
That speaks volumes. What can you say to that? It speaks for itself. It shows you the sickness of this religion. And if this was asked of him to explain, he couldn't explain it. He wouldn't want to talk about it. He would blow up. How dare you read their word, their Torah?
Yeah, and according to them,
stuff they have written in this book regarding children, majority of people do not know this information is in these books that these people promote. If the world really knew this, if this was discussed on national news, you know what would happen to them?
And if you notice in most of their movies, what they do, especially like The Exorcist and all of that, they actually show where the children are the ones that are possessed and not the adults. So that in itself speaks volumes to their practice, their so-called practice.
That's right.
And you know what's interesting? Remember, that was a young girl who was supposed to be possessed. And I can't get graphic in here, but remember when she was on the bed and she was using the F-bomb and basically molesting herself.
Mm-hmm. The newest one, I admit I watched it. The newest one is showing where the girl was actually doing that in the church, which is crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. I'm not surprised. Let me copy this over here. This is the age of distinction. This is the age of distinction, family. Within this Talmud. Let me pull it up here. Like I said, family, I know I'm pulling from old presentations because I didn't have a chance to put everything together like I normally would do. But let's see here. Let me do something real quick. All right, let's see the age of distinction. All right. Here it is. Let me go to it. All right, the age of distinction. 54b footnotes, right? Actually, I said 3, but I apologize. It says, actually, yeah, it says here 3. It says in footnote 24, Rabbi makes 9 years the minimum. But if one commits sodomy with a child of lesser age, no guilt is incurred. Samuel makes 3 the minimum. At 9 years, a male attains sexual matureness. Right? It goes on to say, and they use Leviticus chapter 18, verse 22. Thus, the point of comparison is the sexual matureness of woman, which is reached at the age of 3. Come on, family. The age of 3. But they want to throw shots at what we call the renewed covenant, or some would say the New Testament.
Well, interesting enough, this is what the Democratic Party is, the alphabet group are pushing to make law that a child can tell you their sexual preference at the age of 3. And I guarantee you they're using it based upon this right here.
Well, that just tells you who has the influence.
Absolutely. That's why I said.
That just tells you, I mean, even when we look at slavery, you know, you see their influence, their fingerprints all through it.
That's correct.
To make sure that we weren't taught Torah.
Absolutely.
To make sure that we was in the Christian Catholic Church.
That's exactly.
To make sure that we got as far away from our identity as they can have us.
They're our great gatekeepers. They keep us. They're always around us, looking at us.
Yeah.
Well, look at the Catholics too. They practice the same lifestyle, you know,
same people,
taking of children, you know. I mean, they're doing it as well.
Same people.
Yeah. And so Jay Highstyle brought up another thing, because we're dealing with idolatry, right? We dealt with, so far we saw that they allow worship of Malak as far as child sacrifices. We also saw enchantments as far as using charms. We just saw pedophilia, pederasty. Now, with what Jay Highstyle brought up, since we already dealing with perversions, let's deal with the Talmud. Let's deal with their Trinity, because I make it clear that I don't support the Trinitarian doctrine. Because number one, when we understand the word Elohim, some would say Elohim, we know that it wasn't just the Father, it wasn't just his Son, that you saw the word Elohim or Elohim. You also saw that Israel was referred to as Elohim or Elohim, and also the angels. The word means counsel. So just that in itself obliterates the Trinitarian doctrine, right? The Trinitarian doctrine that you see today is really the 4th century. You know, prior to that, what's the word that I want to use? I can't think of the term that you would label those early on. But even then, you won't see this. The Trinity doctrine is not biblical. The word Trinity is not even in the scriptures, right? So, but they use the Father, they use the Son, they use the Holy Spirit, and they, in a nutshell, they say all of them are equal, all of them are coexist. You know, it's just a number of things that goes with that. I'm not going to get into all that tonight, because that's not my focus. But also, if we flip over to Judaism, they have a trinity. It's called the Shekinah or Shekinah, the Ein Sof, and also whatever messiahs that they're searching for. At one time, the Rabbi, right, from the Lubavitch movement, they refer to him as being the Messiah. And I'm sure that this particular person, Reuben, follows, especially him being an Orthodox Jew in New York. I'm pretty confident that he's part of the Lubavitch. And his name was Schneerson, if I remember correctly. His name was Schneerson. They refer to him as being the Messiah. He has so much influence. He is the one that really pushed the Noahide laws and had it written for Education Day and a bill. All right. So, family, let's let them speak for themselves. Let's let them, as Brother Jay pointed out, let's hear them in their own words about this this Shekinah doctrine, right? The divine marriage doctrine. All right. Let's go ahead and listen to it in their own words, and then Jay, you guys can share your thoughts once I finish with it. But here it is, family. I want you guys to pay attention. First, I'm gonna play the Shekinah, right? The divine marriage with the Ein Sof. Then I'm gonna play the Ein Sof with the rabbis or the educated Jewish educator saying that the Ein Sof created God. Then I'm going to play the Shekinah, as far as the davening on the wall, them doing copulating on the wall to try to bring forth the anointed. Anyway, so I've got 4 videos I'm gonna share. So for the next 5 minutes, it's going to be those 4 videos in that sequence. Here we go. Let's start with the divine marriage called the Shekinah. Here we go.
One of the great Tzvat rituals was the rite, the cult, shall I say, of the Shekhinah and the cult of the divine marriage. Now, people don't really think about this when they go to temple in America and rise at the end of a certain hymn and bow and sing, "Come, O bride, come, O bride." But in fact, the Tzvat Kabbalists viewed the Friday night service and meal as a wedding feast, when the divine parts of God above unified with the earthly feminine aspect of God in the world, the Shekhinah, and they had sexual union on Friday night. And this has survived into general Jewish practice to this day.
All right, so you heard the rabbi say that on Friday night, right, Friday night service, that the Ein Sof and the Shekinah are copulating. I'll just use that word, but having intercourse. All right. So you heard with your own ears, it's called the divine marriage between the Shekinah or Shekinah and the Ein Sof. All right. So let's go to the next thing here. Let's see what this rabbi said about the Ein Sof. He's not going to use the word Ein Sof, but I'm going to explain that in a second. Here we go.
But the Zohar insists on reading the words in the precise order in which they appear in Hebrew. Bereshit, in the beginning. Bara, it created. Elohim, God. In the beginning, it created God. The Zohar takes that to mean, in the beginning, infinity created God. Now, what could that possibly mean? God is now the object of the verse, not the subject, which sounds impossible or heretical, but the Zohar, I think, is saying that infinity is the true reality of God. Anything else that we call God is puny compared to that. That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be. That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be.
That's our own imagination or our own estimate of what God could be.
It doesn't do justice to the true reality of God. So infinity brought about all that we think of as God. And for the Zohar, that's the meaning of the opening of Genesis. In the beginning, infinity created what we call God.
All right, family. So you heard him say that infinity, according to his own words, infinity created God, so to speak. That's what he's saying. Infinity created Yah. All right. So let me just explain to you real quick who infinity is, because I know some of you guys probably make you think of Buzz Lightyear. We're not dealing with Buzz Lightyear, but let me show you who infinity, the name infinity is, right? With their own sources. All right, let's pull it up here real quick. They called him Ein Sof, right? So Ein Sof, the infinite. So when he said infinity created God, that's why I said it may sound heretical, but infinity, in other words, the infinite, literal, that which is boundless, name given in Kabbalah to God transcendent in his pure essence. So they look at Ein Sof as being God before God per se, that infinity created, as you heard what he said, infinity created God per se. All right. Infinity created Yah. All right. So let's go to the next clip.
The Wailing Wall is the seat of a satanic ritual outlined by the 13th century Jewish occult system known as the Kabbalah, as expounded in the Zohar and expanded upon by the 18th century Hasidic movement. You see, this so-called divine presence at the Wailing Wall is actually the Kabbalistic feminine emanation of their false god, the Shekinah. Watch closely how the rabbis thrust their pelvises and penises back and forth in a prescribed prayer movement called Debunking, in which the Jew copulates with the Shekinah in order to give birth to an erotic union with the Ein Sof, the Kabbalistic masculine emanation of their false god. Now watch this young Jewish boy who, instinctively knowing that Debunking is a lewd and embarrassing act, just can't bring himself to perform the thrusting of his pelvis.
Come on, family. And they want to talk about our community. I'm going to play one more video. So the Ein Sof, the Shekinah, Davening is what? Basically, in a nutshell, the symbol of copulating to bring forth their so-called anointed. At that wall at Fort Antonia, however you pronounce it, that's what they're doing. All right, but let's go ahead and as Rabbi or the educator Pinchas pointed out, he made it clear. Okay, let me play one more video so you guys understand the Shekinah and also their tree, their mystical tree that they say is supposed to be the body of their deity. Here it is.
The major symbolic code found in the Zohar is the 10 aspects of God's personality, the 10 Sefirot. One popular interpretation shows these characteristics as a map of God's body. Kabbalists believe that if they can understand God's anatomy, they can learn how his powers work. These ancient drawings reveal that God's body is similar to humans. The top symbolizes God's head, which is the source of will, wisdom, and understanding. Below that are symmetrically arranged organs and limbs, representing love, power, beauty, eternity, and splendor. The most unusual part of the diagram contains sensual imagery. The ninth part of God, called the foundation, is the phallus, or procreative life force of the universe. But according to the Sefirot, God also has female components. The final element, often called Shekinah, was depicted as the feminine half of God.
So you see that, family? You hear that? And I want to make this clear because I know some will try to troll and make comments. The word Shekinah is not a biblical word. The Hebrew word is actually shakan. When you see the presence of the Most High, it's shakan, not Shekinah. The earliest mention of Shekinah or Sakina, right, which the name means tranquility, you'll see with Muhammad. His niece's name was Sakina, right? But the name means tranquility. But you will not see that in any of the ancient Hebrew texts. The word Shekinah is not Shakan. It's actually Shakan, which you get the word Mashkan, which is the transliterates to the word tabernacle. So the word Shekinah, I want to make it clear again. Do your due diligence. If you go to the Strong Concordance, or if you go to any one of these Hebrew lexicons, you will not find Shekinah in it. You'll see Shakan. Shekinah is all part of the worship of Queen of Heaven. That's part of Jewish mysticism, the Maccabee Jewish mystical system. That's all part of Jewish mysticism. Family, we have to start vetting every bit of information, period, and not just continue to give a pass. Any comments, guys?
It seems to me like they're describing their own God.
Mm-hmm.
That's what they're doing.
I mean,
That's what they're doing.
even when you look at the Baphomet, you look at an image that is supposed to be unisexual, I believe. And so, really what they're describing is their God, who is Satan.
Yeah, well, I mean, the Baphomet is half woman, half beast, half male. So
Right.
it's the same depiction.
And
And
remember, go ahead, Sister Carol.
someone just mentioned in chat, is this why their descendants comes from the woman? Yeah, because that's what they see it as. Copulating with the woman of great host, or the host, mother of the great host, to create their children or their descendants.
And see, the rabbi gave some. Not rabbi. Those Kabbalistic leaders, they gave some nuggets there, family.
Mm-hmm.
If you listen to what he said, right? He made it clear. They all made it clear that you have the Shekinah, you have the Ein Sof, right? And in that diagram that was shared, right? They are saying that basically in a nutshell, their deity is a hermaphrodite.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what they're saying.
Yep.
Right? They're Ein Sof. That's why that 10 separate. Go ahead, Brother Jay.
No, I was just saying that's the same thing that I was thinking, a hermaphrodite, both male and female.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's right.
So, and let me show you some, family. You guys know I share this from time to time, because if we going to bring all of this together, right? They have it inside their literature that Adam was a hermaphrodite.
Mm-hmm.
And if Adam is in their 10th Sephira, that in the video clip that we played, they said that the Shekinah is the female aspect, right? Of their Ein Sof, right? So have both male and female reproductive organs. I'm trying to keep it clean by saying it that way. But let me post this over here.
Hermaphrodite.
me see here. Let me cut and paste this over. All right.
About
Let's
that.
see here.
That's right. Baphomet. Exactly.
All right. Let me bring this over. It's like Sister Carol pointed out, the Baphomet.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go back here. Right now, this is from a lesson I did on Valentine's Day. But anyway, let's go here. It says, let me go to the Midrash. I just want to go straight to the Midrash. In the Midrash, right, it says this, and you see this in the background. That's what I'm reading right here. It says, when the Holy One, blessed be he, created Adam, he created him an hermaphrodite. In other words, bisexual. For it is said, male and female created he, them, and called their name Adam. So they left no stone unturned. All right. Any comments, guys? I know we're sharing a lot here tonight. I'm not gonna go too long with it. I'll do a follow-up next weekend to really put all my notes together, because there's some other things I want to bring out that he touched on, and but I just don't have time to go in and try to pull up other slides and try to cut in and paste it and dump it into this one. So I'll definitely have revisit this and go with all my sources in a row, ducks in a row, so to speak, and just break down each one of these items that we covered. But any comments that you guys have before we conclude tonight?
I think you knocked down everything he said in that video clip. You left no room for him to flip the script back over into saying what he was saying is true. You went from scripture and Torah, and you went to their book to even make it even more proof of what he's saying is nothing but a bunch of lies. Completely. And go back to you earlier, what you're saying when he was talking about Iran is the quote unquote birthplace, if you will, of his people, or the what did he say? Babylon, Iran.
Yeah, he mentioned
right?
Babylon.
Does he not know that Israel is Northeast Africa?
Oh, they know.
I know,
How they,
but the foolishness that he's spewing, that he's not even making any sense, to even knowing that we know the landmass of what that piece of the continent is part of the continent of Africa. So how is it you show me one African American? He thinks all black people are African American over in Iran, when all of it was black. But the landmass that his so-called people are occupying is Africa.
yeah, and to Jay Highstyle's point as well, they're not the original people that's even there.
No, not at all.
When you start dealing with the invasions that took place,
Whitewashing at its best.
Yeah. Jay Highstyle, anything you want to add?
Well, I mean, all of these different things that we brought to the forefront basically had to be discussed, because he threw out several different deceptive pieces, and rightfully so. We need to show and tell others that what he was saying was actually a lie. So we had to cover these different areas, or should I say, you had to cover, because you always do a well job at that. And of course, we thank you. We appreciate you for your work. So yeah, we had to knock down all of the foolishness that he was spewing, and again, he did a well job, a good job.
Oh, appreciate it. Well, we're gonna give out some garbage can awards. You gonna say something, Sister Carol?
I was going to say, when you're going back over the the idols and things that they use. If you go to their house, you will find a charm, rather. You will find I forgot what they call it. It begins with an M, I believe. It's on their door to let you know that a Jew lives here and that they're blessed at all time and that it keeps evil spirits from the house. It's tacked to their front door.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I tell you, it's not surprising. Not surprising. I mean, left no stone unturned. Left no stone unturned. But we're going to go ahead and give out the Garbage Can Awards. What are the Garbage Can Awards we're giving out?
Well, him for one, along with
That's him. That's it.
Michael
Nothing
Brown.
else. Put him in it.
All right, so we're going to give this Reuben guy, we want to give him the Garbage Can Award. And we're going to give him a 3-piece.
Don't forget the chair.
To go. You going to say J High style?
And don't forget the chair. Let's give him. Let's throw all of it out.
You know, let's give him the chair. Where's the chair? Let's see here. Got it somewhere here.
Gotta love it.
That really looked like it hurt. So, yeah, we're gonna give them all the above, you know. And like I said, family, the whole goal here tonight is just to continue to expose the teachings or the things that is being spewed out about our community and the arguments that are being used by them. It makes absolutely no sense. None whatsoever. So again, this particular person decided to use his arguments against Christianity and Catholicism and direct them all, funnel them all through our community. Why? You know, we already know what that is. Anyone but the Negroes. So with that being said, any final words, Sister Carol and Brother Jay, you guys want to share?
I'm ready for Passover.
I'm on.
I'm just ready for it to come on.
It's coming, right?
Yep. One more week. A week from today.
Yep. Anything else? Anything you want to share, J High style?
Yeah, I mean, just simply, you know, we see our opposition. We see how much they are willing to lie and continue to be deceptive. And that's one thing why we have to continue to be in the Most High's word, because his word is true. That's from the Old Testament to the New Testament. And one of the reasons why they so adamant about denouncing the New Testament is because it clearly shows what their plight will be in the end. So, yeah, they're going to denounce the New Testament as well. But for us, let us continue to stay in the truth.
Yeah, and go figure, right? They want to denounce our Messiah so that way they can continue to introduce a Messiah coming from their community.
That's right.
You know, they want to tear down our scripture writing as far as with of what is called the New Testament. They want to tear that down so they can push the Talmud. You know, they know everything that's in that New Testament, man. When they talk about don't call no man father, don't use the term rabbi, you know, it really puts major monkey wrenches all through their Talmudic doctrine. So, but with that being said, family, really appreciate you guys for being on. And family, we're going to close out with this final thought. Moses said to the children of Israel in Exodus chapter 14, verse 13 and 14, he said, "Fear ye not." And these are the words of the Most High given to Moses. "Fear ye not, stand still, see the salvation of Yahweh. These Egyptians that you see here today, They will not have power over you again. The Most High will fight for you. But here's the kicker, family. You have to hold your peace. We as a people, we have to hold our peace. Can't go back. Can't stay here. Keep moving forward. Shalom.
Listen, Genesis chapter 11, verse 10 explains the genealogy of Shem. Shem was a black man in Africa. If you repeat this back, Genesis 14, verse 13, Abraham steps on the scene. Being a descendant of Shem, which is a fact, means Abraham too was Abraham, born in the city of a black man, called Nimrod, grandson of Ham. Ham had 4 sons. One was named Canaan. Here, let me do some explaining. Abraham, Isaac was Jacob had 12 sons, for real, and these were the children of Israel. According to Genesis chapter 10, these were the children of Israel.